Welcome to our deep dive, everyone. Well, folks, it's that time again, time to dive deep into another exciting week of harness racing. And let me tell you, this week, there's a real buzz in the air.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, who can ignore that massive V86 jackpot we've got brewing, split between those two legendary tracks, Åby and Solvalla?
So buckle up, racing fans, and let's kick things off with V86-1 at Åby.
All right, so V86-1, we're looking at a 2,140-meter race with an auto start, and one horse is already generating a lot of buzz. Number 5, Cross Lane.
Yeah, Cross Lane seems to be the clear favorite coming in. And for good reason, right? I mean, 6 wins in a row, that's a pretty convincing statement.
It really is. That kind of consistency, especially at this level, you just don't see it every day. And it's not just the wins. His speed figures during those races, they've been consistently strong. And he's won on different track conditions, which shows he's not a one-trick pony.
Plus, he's got the auto start, and he's known for his early speed. So chances are he'll be right up there, potentially even taking the lead early. And at Åby, over this distance, being in front can be a huge advantage.
Oh, absolutely. It's tough to reel in a leader at Åby, especially if they set a good pace. But let's not forget about the competition. There are a few horses in this field who could give Cross Lane a run for his money.
Right, so who are we looking at as the main challengers here?
Well, number 11, Zebulon. He's known for his stamina and strength. This horse can really grind it out, so if Cross Lane sets a fast pace, Zebulon might be the one to wear him down in the later stages.
And then there's number 1, Pure Atlas, who's got a notable driver change to Stefan Persson, and he's racing barefoot this time. Those are 2 big factors that could really elevate his performance.
Definitely. Stefan Persson, one of the top drivers around. And barefoot, well, that often means a horse is feeling good and can potentially gain a little extra speed. A quick start from that inside post, and Pure Atlas could be right on Cross Lane's tail, ready to pounce if he makes a mistake.
Okay, so we've got the favorite and the main challengers. Now, what about some potential long shots? Any hidden gems that could spice things up?
There are always a few lurking in the shadows, aren't there? Number 6, 11 o'clock, had a tough time in his last race, but he's shown promise before. Then you've got number 2, Dion W., who's getting an American-style cart for the first time, and he's had a couple of races under his belt recently.
The American cart. Always an interesting equipment change. It can really make a difference for some horses.
Exactly. It can give them that extra bit of speed and maneuverability. Then there's number 10, No Talking You. He's a bit of a wild card. If the race unfolds in a way that suits him, he could be right there in the mix.
And we can't forget about number 8, Tug of War. Also going barefoot, also with an American cart, and Jepson's driving. That's a combination that deserves a second look.
Jepson's known for getting the most out of his horses, but, despite all these potential spoilers, the statistics do point to Cross Lane as the most likely winner, so he's definitely one to beat.
Now let's head over to Solvalla for V86-2, a track ladder event over 2,140 meters. The starting position can be crucial in these races. And in this one, we've got number 3, Nevermind River, who's attracting a lot of attention. Trained by Christopher Eriksson, driven by Victor Rosleff, and they're adding an American cart and a Norwegian headlag. That's a lot of positive changes.
It is. Christopher Eriksson's stable is in great form right now, and Rosleff, he's a very talented young driver. The American cart, well, we know that can often mean a boost in speed, and the Norwegian headlag, it's a type of headgear that can help a horse focus better, so that's interesting.
He also had a win before his last race where he apparently had some issues. But here's the thing. He's not the betting favorite. Why is that?
That last race where he had trouble, it seems to have made the odds makers a bit hesitant. But, if you look at his previous form, the potential is there. And with all these positive changes, he could be a real value bet.
Especially with the statistical data pointing to Nevermind River as the most likely winner. Now, who are the main contenders looking to spoil his party?
Well, number 9, NVS Goldneck. Had a good run last time, racing barefoot all around. And as we've discussed, barefoot can often lead to a significant performance boost.
And number 4, Run Riddle, is also experimenting with an American cart for the first time. Could that unlock some hidden potential?
It's certainly possible. You never know how a horse will react to a new piece of equipment. And then there's number 8, Bagheera Montana, making a seasonal debut, which is always a bit of an unknown. Plus, she's got a tough outside starting position in this track ladder format.
So she'll work hard to overcome that. Now, any long shots in this race that catch your eye?
Number 2, Grande Drama, is getting an American cart, so that's worth keeping in mind. It's a long shot, but the equipment change could make a difference.
Okay, so V86-2 at Solvalla is shaping up to be a very intriguing race. Back to Åby for V86-3, a volt start over 2,140 meters.
All right, Volt Start. This is where things can get a little chaotic, right? Horses lined up behind each other in starting groups. It's all about positioning and getting a clean break.
Absolutely. And in this race, number 5, Xanthus JR, is being tipped as a potential leader and winner. He's really found his form since moving to a new trainer, Johanna Bodewind.
That's right. Trainer changes can sometimes work wonders. And Xanthus JR, he seems to be thriving under Bodewind's care. From the starting position, he's got a good chance of getting to the front early. And if he can dictate the pace, he could be hard to catch.
The main challengers are number 7, Safety Tile, and number 6, Global Flashback. Safety Tile has the ability, but can be a bit inconsistent. Global Flashback is usually very reliable, but is returning after an illness and has a tricky outside starting position. How do you see those two stacking up?
Safety Tile, it's a bit of a gamble. On his day, he can be brilliant, but can you trust him to bring his A game? Global Flashback, it's tough to say after the break. He usually runs well, but that layoff and the outside draw, those are real concerns.
And what about some potential surprises in this race?
Well, there's number 3, Candy Tonight, who's had a race since a trainer change, and now Johann Untersteiner is driving, and he's racing barefoot all around. That's a combination worth considering.
Untersteiner's a top driver, that's for sure.
Then we've got number 1, I Choose You, with a positive driver change to Andre Eklund, and he's got the inside starting position, so he could potentially take an early lead.
And number 10, Estelle SH, finished strongly in her last race. Maybe she's coming into form at the right time. And number 4, Panther Noir, is known for consistently finishing in the money.
It's a wide-open race, for sure, and the statistics actually point to Xanthus JR as the most likely winner, but as we know, anything can happen in a Volt Start.
All right, V86-3 at Åby is another race where surprises are definitely possible. Now, back to Solvalla for V86-4, a mile race for apprentice drivers in the Gold Clock Series.
Apprentice drivers, that always adds another element of unpredictability, doesn't it? You never quite know what to expect.
Exactly. But even with the less experienced drivers, one horse is standing out. Number 4, Global Dependable. Now, he's had some issues with breaking stride recently, but he's got a good starting position, and he's racing barefoot again.
Global Dependable, he's clearly got the talent. The braking, it's a concern, but the fact that they're sticking with him, putting him in this race, giving him a good draw, taking the shoes off, it shows they believe in him.
And those apprentice races, they can be a bit more forgiving, right? Maybe that will give him the chance he needs to shine.
Possibly, but let's not forget the competition. Number 10, Sparky's Dream is coming back after a break, but he can go from the front or from behind. Very versatile horse.
And number 3, Narita, is in good form. Even though he had some interference in his last race, he's got good early speed, so he should be able to get a decent position.
Then there's number 11, The World Is Mine, going barefoot all around for the first time. That could make a big difference, especially if its pace is fast.
And number 12, Leroy Boko. He's a speedster, but maybe he's better suited to leading, and he's racing with shoes this time.
That outside draw is not ideal for him, and the shoes might slow him down a bit. Now, one more to consider. Number 5, Whit. The note here is about the driver, Valentin Prevost, and his driving style.
Okay, so what should we make of that?
Prevost is known for being a bit more aggressive. He likes to take chances. So we could see some interesting tactics from him. He might try to make something happen early.
So a bit of a wild card there. You know, it's interesting that the statistics actually point to Leroy Boko as the most likely winner, even though he's not getting as much buzz.
Statistics can be surprising sometimes, can't they? But they're worth considering for sure.
Right, so V86-4 at Solvalla, another exciting race with plenty of potential for drama. Now let's shift gears and head back to Åby for V86-5, a longer race this time, 2,640 meters with an auto start. And the favorite here is number 5, Jason Express, coming off 2 wins and now with an American cart.
Jason Express, he's definitely the one to beat here. 2 wins in a row shows he's in top form, and the American cart should give him an extra boost, especially over this longer distance.
The main challengers are number 8, Gugu Casino, Robert Berg's horse making his seasonal debut after a good year last year. Number 3, Eisenhower F, an Italian horse making his Swedish debut for trainer Jerry Riordan, who's being a bit cautious about this first start. And number 9, Eula Manuncio, who had a very impressive comeback race. What do you make of these 3?
Gugu Casino, Robert Berg's horses are always well prepared, and he was very good last year. So even though it's his first start of the season, you can't discount him. Eisenhower F, it's always tough to gauge a horse coming from another country. Riordan's cautious comments suggest they're just taking it one step at a time. And Manuncio, that comeback race was really impressive. If he can build on that, he could be a real threat.
So a mix of experience, potential, and uncertainty there. We also have number 7, Mondo Diablo, and number 4, Muslu CC, mentioned as potential contenders. Do they have a chance against this strong field?
Over this distance, stamina is key, and these two have shown they can stay. But they'll need a perfect trip and maybe some luck to challenge the top contenders.
And statistically, it's Gugu Casino who's identified as the most likely winner, which is interesting considering the seasonal debut.
It just goes to show you can't underestimate a horse from the Berg stable.
Okay, V86 5 at Åby is shaping up to be a real test of stamina and tactics. Let's move on to Solvalla for V86 6, another mile race, this time in the stall current Solvalla series. And the horse to watch here is number 3, No Limit River. Christopher Erickson trains him, Victor Roslev drives him, and he's expected to be a strong contender over this shorter distance.
No Limit River, he's got the speed, he's got the connections, and he's got a good starting position. Over a mile at Solvalla, getting to the front early can be a big advantage, and I think he has a great chance to do just that.
The main challenger appears to be number 1, Fiona, who had a very good last race going barefoot all around for the first time. And with the inside starting position, she could get a nice trip right behind the leader.
Fiona, she's definitely one to watch. That barefoot performance was eye-catching, and if she can tuck in behind No Limit River and get a clear run in the straight, she could be tough to beat.
And then there's the long shot, number 8, Valencia, coming back after a break with a tough outside starting position, but she's known for her fast finishing speed.
Valencia, if the pace is fast early, she could come flying home and pick up the pieces. But that outside draw makes things difficult.
Statistically, it's No Limit River who's the most likely winner, so he's the one to beat in this 6th leg at Solvalla. Now let's head back to Åby for the first leg of the daily double, V86-7, a 1640-meter vault start with 2 starting groups, and the horse to watch here is number 10, La Ferrari de Manche, starting from the 2nd tier.
2-tiered vault start always adds an extra layer of complexity, but La Ferrari de Manche, she's shown good speed over shorter distances, and she's coming off a solid performance. Starting from the 2nd tier, if she gets away cleanly, she could be in a good spot.
The main challengers in the frontier are number 2, Lamoral SJS, making his seasonal debut after a good year last year, and number 3, Rocket Snapper, who's in good form. How do you see these two measuring up?
Lamoral SJS, he's got the potential, but it's always a question mark with a horse making his first start of the season. Rocket Snapper, he's running well, and getting to the front in a short distance vault start can be a huge advantage.
We also have a potential long shot here in number 9, Stinson, who's being touted as a very interesting horse at longer odds. And number 6, Sheila Lloyd, and 7, Friend of Elves, are also mentioned as contenders. Anything stand out to you in this group?
Stinson, at those odds, he's definitely worth considering, especially with the expert opinions highlighting him. And interestingly, Sheila Lloyd is statistically the most likely winner, which suggests there's something in his favor that might not be immediately obvious.
So a very open race, with a mix of established contenders and potential surprises. A fitting start to the daily double. And now we wrap things up at Solvalla for V86-8, the final race in the stall current Solvalla series. And the horse attracting attention here is number 7, Selective Calling, who's returning to racing barefoot all around.
Selective Calling barefoot, that's a significant change. For some horses, it can make a world of difference. And the fact that the experts are highlighting this switch suggests they expect to see a big improvement from her.
So she's definitely one to watch. And the rest of the field is quite competitive as well. We have number 8, Bollinger N.O., who ran well in his debut for the new trainer, but he's now racing with shoes and has a difficult outside starting position.
Bollinger N.O., that debut was promising, but the shoes and the draw are definitely working against him.
And then there's number 2, Lacazette, in good form and with a good starting position. Number 1, Ferrara, making his 2nd start for Christopher Erickson with an American cart and barefoot all around.
Ferrara, he's expected to improve significantly on his last performance, and he could be a bit overlooked by the bettors.
And then we have number 10, Dalmo, who was very impressive in his last race, and number 12, Star Raymond, who's also going barefoot this time. A lot of talent in this race.
And one more to mention, number 11, Blinding Light. He could be a factor as well, especially if the pace is fast.
Okay, so the final leg of the V86 is shaping up to be a real nail-biter. Statistically, Lacazette is the most likely winner, but of all these contenders, it's really anyone's race.
It's a fantastic way to end the V86 card, isn't it? So much to consider, so many possibilities.
Well, there you have it, folks. Our whirlwind tour of the V86 races at Åby Solvalla. Have fun, everyone, and we'll see you next week for another deep dive into the world of harness racing.